Hey my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome to another episode of Fiona's Coffee Talks. And as always, I'd like to start off every morning with a fresh, black, hot cup of coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to. So, before I even tell you what today's topic is a few things that I want to point out. First off, I usually shoot anywhere from like 6 to 8 videos in one sitting. And so I always have about 3 or 4 weeks in the can. So what I want to point out is a video that you may be watching that I just posted on a particular day. There's a good chance that it was taped weeks in advance. So sometimes, I'll shoot videos and then post one of those a few days later. But usually there's a few weeks time where I shoot it before I actually post it. So a lot can happen, between the point of shooting and the point of posting. So if you've noticed in the last handful of videos that I have posted, usually I always talk about having Kahlua every morning in my favorite cup of coffee. So in my favorite coffee mug, which is a quote from Oscar Wilde that says, "Life is too important to be taken seriously." So 2 things. I have a new coffee mug that actually has my logo for my channel. Coffee. But if you've noticed, I've not been mentioning the Kahlua. And the reason is because today's topic is sobriety. Yes, believe it or not, I've been sober since probably right around Christmas time. So when I had initially shot this video, I did initially shoot this video about a month ago. Now, I've always said that I never like redoing a video because the first one is the authenticness. The unfortunate reality was when I shot the sobriety one, I was so used to talking about having my Kahlua with my coffee that I, without even thinking about it, said that and having my Kahlua. And then I'm like, I've been sober for a month. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And the truth of the matter was at that precise moment when I shot the video, there was not any Kahlua in my coffee, but I force of habit. So I was like, okay, I could either learn to edit in between and maybe splice something in, but I did download software to learn that, but I just have not had the opportunity to do that. So I'm going against what I usually have said I would never do, which is reshoot a video, but that's exactly what I'm doing now. So when I shot that video a month ago, I'd mentioned how, it had been about a month. So now it's been about 2 months, where I've pretty much been sober. And I say pretty much because there was one instance a few weeks ago where I did have one isolated drink, but, and I don't even really like using the word sober too much, because to me that always implies that you've had a problem with it. I never really have, but I have had moments in my life where, it's been done more often than I care to. And, in my younger years, I had moments where I would drink too much or, I've always been able to control it, but I've just found that later on in life, at this stage, I'm just better off, kind of staying away from everything for now. Now, I'm not making any kind of declarations. I'm not saying that, I'm going to never drink again. I'm never going to, do a hit of weed or anything like that. But where I am at this stage, it's been kind of neat not doing anything like that. And, other than that one isolated time. And I was okay with that. I didn't even want to use the word slip because that just sort of implies that, that I'm suddenly had a slip. And because I'm not going to meetings or anything like that, that's something that I might do. But, for now, I feel like I have a grip on it. And, truthfully, the undertaking of even doing this channel, I think that if I were even drinking socially or doing the things that I've enjoyed doing socially, it would not enable me to accomplish this. Because I'm here to tell you, these are the 8, 9, 10-minute videos. It's not just the actual shooting of the video, but all of the pre and post production work. It's work. It is a lot of work. It's work that I love doing, but I'm my own one-man show, so I'm basically doing everything. And I kind of feel like maybe if I were doing any kind of drinking or weed or anything like that, even socially, it would probably interfere with that. And I've always said I'm 55. I'm going to actually be 55 in about a week or so. And I have noticed that as I've gotten older, but I just don't even respond that well to it anymore. Like when I had that one drink, it was like, okay, but it was sort of like, I could have done without it. And then even like, prior to that, the couple of times that I would like, do a hit of weed or whatever, it just suddenly I wasn't responding the same way to it that I have been. And I think part of that is also because I've mentioned this before, where I eat a certain way called the Shepherd's Code, which is very similar to ketogenic. So when you do that, you're not eating a lot of carbs or sugars, and that's what alcohol is, and then in terms of like, if I would, do a hit of weed, which I've always loved, then I have a tendency of like pigging out. And then because I have this, specific kinds of foods in my house, if you overeat foods that are like filled with healthy fats, that's not good either. So I'm just sort of at the point now where I'm just better off not doing anything. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to make any declaration. I'm not going to say that, I'm sober, because I'm sure there'll be a point, hell, my birthday's coming up in a week. I'm going to have a little birthday soiree Saturday, February 29th, at Nowhere Bar. Free to get in, open to everyone. I'm going to be there starting at 8 p.m. So please, any viewers watching this, if you're free and want to stop on by, I'd love for you to come by and visit. And yeah, I might have like a drink or whatever, but I know that at this point, even if I had one, I'd be able to stop myself. And, the end result of all of this is that I've had a lot more clarity. Clarity like I think I've never had before. And it's also enabled me to be that much more open and honest with my life, which, I think it's, for those of you who know me, I've always been that way anyway. And even in writing my self-published memoirs, you can't get any more honest than that. But I didn't even think it was possible. But I kind of feel like lately it's gone up even a little notch. I didn't think it was humanly possible, but there's something to be said about being as clear as I feel, where I ultimately don't really care, what people think or don't think. I never have either, but I've said this in one of my other videos where, I think even though I say that, I think it's human nature to want people to accept you or whatever, but I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone's going to agree with everything that I say or agree with everything that I do, and that's fine. You don't have to, I know that I like to keep my karma clean. And I think by virtue of being in this current state, that's helped me even more. It's interesting too. I'm going to be completely honest here, but one of the things that prompted me to do this was back in November. I injured my ankle really badly, and it was right when I had just created the channel and I wanted to shoot all of this content. And then I was pretty much bedridden for like a month. So I started shooting these videos at the end of November, like 3-4 weeks later, and I still was not 100%. But by virtue of like being laid up in bed all that time with my legs elevated, and not for the reason you're thinking, just to keep off my ankle, it in turn like screwed up my neck, and then my neck was out of whack. So then I was seeing a chiropractor, and then I was finding myself like getting lightheaded and dizzy, and because everything was just sort of out of whack. And then there was one instance when I had gone to Palm Springs that there were a couple of nights that I just had a couple of drinks and I was fine, but then I would like get to the hotel room and suddenly wake up in the morning and not remember getting to the hotel room. So it was odd because I wasn't even that I was like busted up, but I suddenly would wake up the next morning and it was almost like I blacked out. And that happened like 3 consecutive nights. And that's what really made me think, okay, you know what? Like now my body is just not even processing alcohol the way it should. So that was sort of like a rude, scary awakening for me. And that was right before Christmas. And that was really, and then these kind of dizzy spells, which I was just finding myself getting lightheaded for no apparent reason. And I've checked it all out and everything is good, so I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm fine with that, but it was enough to make me say, let me not even deal with that for now till I at least have a grip with this. And the timing is such that, the timing couldn't be more perfect, because I don't think that I'd be able to do what I'm doing with this channel if I were even doing it socially, drinking or smoking or, the occasional line here or there. So I'm happy about that. And, the other thing that's happened is a dear friend of mine, Ava. Hey, Ava. We right after New Year's, we were chatting and she said to me, I think I'm going to take a break from drinking. I was like, oh my God, like you have no idea. I've been like in that way of thinking. It had been a week at that point for me. And I wasn't like speaking to anyone about it because I was like, didn't even really want to make any kind of declaration, because I always feel like that's where you set yourself up for failure. But when she mentioned that to me and I was like, well, I've been that way for about a week and I want to stick that way. In turn, what it's done is she and I have been supporting each other, and I love this woman to death. I mean, apart from the fact that she's an amazing individual, she's an ultra talented photographer, and I'm honored and privileged to call her one of my dearest friends. And it's brought us closer. So like we talk and we text every day and we're supporting each other. So, there's really something to be said about that. And it's been interesting too, because it seems like other friends that we both have or people that we know that are, in our same box of age group, it seems like I've been hearing a lot of other people say, oh yeah, I stopped doing everything, whether it's definite or, permanently or temporarily, just seems like, you reach a certain stage where it's just not that important. And in my case, not that it was ever really so important, you enjoy it, but I'm sure I still will, but, it's just, it's not agreeing with me the way it used to. And then, ultimately, hon, I want to be around. So I'm like, if I'm going to do these things and not feel great, then really what's the point of doing it? So what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, for those of you out there who are sober, do you find it easy? I went to Ava had an event last night, an art exhibit, and I went to it and it was so much fun to be there. And people were drinking wine or, whatever they had there to drink. And I was drinking seltz, and I realized that I can still be social and have fun not having the alcohol. And I've always known that about myself, but it's really kind of neat to have it be solidified and know that, yeah, you can still have fun and still be yourself. And to a certain degree, I think I'm that much more myself because I'm that much more present and clear and level-headed and, not all fucked up, excuse my French, because God knows, I think back on all of the years that I have, and, I've had my moments where I know I've been a mess, and then you end up hating yourself the next day or regretting it or saying, oh, what happened? What did I do? So, to be able to wake up day after day and not have that feeling is actually quite amazing. So I'm proud of myself for now, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And, sobriety is kind of cool. So what are you guys' thoughts? My sober brothers and sisters out there, are you loving it? And even if you do have a little drink here and there or a little whatever here and there, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just don't make any declarations. And they always say, take it one day at a time. So that's what I'm doing. And I have, supportive friends and people that I'm hanging out with. I'm sort of saying, I'm taking a little break from it, and people are mindful and respectful of that. So, alrighty, leave your comments. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the notification button. As always, thank you for letting me into your lives, and thank you for listening and allowing me to speak my truth and be as honest and open with my life as possible. That means everything to me. Bye.